What began as a quiet medical check spiraled into a revelation so earthly it brought Princess Beatrice to her knees with DNA results.
Princess Beatrice has spent nearly 4 decades in the public eye, yet her story has rarely been one of scandal. It has been one of quiet persistence. A woman who grew up navigating dyslexia, tabloid scrutiny of her parents' turbulent marriage, and the peculiar pressure of being a minor royal expected to serve a public role without a defined job description. Her life offers a compelling case study in how a person can carry the weight of institutional expectation while carving out something recognizably her own. Beatrice Elizabeth Mary was born on August 8, 1988, at the Portland Hospital in London, the first child of Prince Andrew, Duke of York, and Sarah, Duchess of York. She was named after her great-great-great-aunt, Princess Beatrice, the youngest daughter of Queen Victoria. Her early years were shaped by 2 forces that would define much of her adult life: the divorce of her parents in 1996, when she was 8 years old, and a diagnosis of dyslexia that delayed her from sitting her GCSE exams on schedule. Unlike many portrayals of royal children caught between separated parents, Beatrice and her sister Eugenie have consistently maintained close relationships with both their mother and father, even as Sarah Ferguson's public image swung between tabloid favorite and tabloid target over the years. The 2 sisters became known as an inseparable pair, frequently photographed together at royal engagements, weddings, and charity events well into adulthood. At St. George's School in Ascot, where she boarded from 2003, Beatrice worked to overcome her dyslexia with additional tutoring and went on to become head girl in her final year. She earned strong marks in history and drama at A-level, subjects that foreshadowed her later academic path. In 2008, she enrolled at Goldsmiths, University of London, to study history and history of ideas, graduating in 2011 with a 2:1 degree, making her one of relatively few senior royals to complete a full undergraduate degree at a British university, while living primarily off-campus rather than in the more traditional royal path through Oxford or Cambridge. What distinguishes Beatrice from many royal peers is the degree to which she has built an independent professional life. After graduating, she spent time working in finance, including a stint with a London investment firm, before completing a finance course at a university in San Francisco. She later took on roles at the Foreign Office and at Sony Pictures Entertainment, working in strategic partnerships, unusually corporate territory for a member of the royal family, and a signal of her ambition to be seen as more than a ceremonial figure. In 2019, she was elected to the board of the Outward Bound Trust as a trustee, taking over responsibilities in an area her father had also been involved in as patron. More recently, in 2025, she was reported to have launched her own management consultancy venture, a move that underscored her continued effort to establish an identity and income independent of official royal duties, particularly significant given that she and her sister do not receive public funding and have had to build careers to support themselves. Her charitable commitments have also been long-standing rather than performative one-offs. She has been a global ambassador for the charity Children in Crisis, supported Springboard for Children, which provides literacy assistance to disadvantaged primary school students, and served as patron of the Teenage Cancer Trust. In 2010, she became the first member of the royal family to complete the London Marathon, raising funds for children in crisis. These commitments reflect a pattern of sustained involvement rather than headline-driven charity work. Beatrice has not always controlled the narrative around her. In April 2011, she became an unlikely internet sensation after wearing an elaborate, sculptural hat designed by Philip Tracy to the wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton. The hat drew intense media commentary and became the subject of countless memes. Beatrice responded by putting it up for auction on eBay, and it eventually sold for £81,000, with proceeds split between UNICEF and Children in Crisis, turning a moment of public mockery into a substantial charitable contribution. Her personal life has also drawn scrutiny, as is common for royals dating outside sanctioned circles. Media attention followed several of her earlier relationships, and by 2018, she had begun a relationship with property developer Edoardo Mapelli Mazzi, whom she had known socially for years. The couple became engaged in Italy in September 2019. Their wedding, originally planned as a larger event at the Chapel Royal in St. James's Palace, was significantly scaled back, first postponed by the COVID-19 pandemic and further affected by the fallout from her father's widely criticized 2019 BBC interview regarding his association with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, which led to Andrew's withdrawal from public royal duties. The wedding ultimately took place in a small, private ceremony on July 17, 2020, at the Royal Chapel of All Saints at Royal Lodge, Windsor, with her father, despite the controversy surrounding him, walking her down the aisle. Beatrice wore a remodeled Norman Hartnell gown lent by Queen Elizabeth II and the Queen Mary fringe tiara, the same tiara the Queen had worn at her own wedding, a gesture widely read as a sign of continued family support during a difficult period. The marriage brought Beatrice into a ready-made family. Her husband's son, Christopher Wolfe, born in 2016 from a previous relationship, became her stepson. In September 2021, Beatrice gave birth to her first child, a daughter named Sienna Elizabeth Mapelli Motzi, at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. A second daughter, Athena Elizabeth Rose Mapelli Motzi, followed in 2025. Beatrice was later made patron of a charity supporting premature births after her own experience, giving birth early. Motherhood appears to have coincided with a further shift away from full-time public royal duties and toward private family life and independent career work, a trajectory that mirrors broader conversations within the royal family about working versus non-working royals. Beatrice's adult life has coincided with one of the most turbulent periods in recent royal history, much of it driven by her father's controversies rather than her own conduct. Prince Andrew's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, his subsequent loss of royal patronages and military titles, and his eventual full withdrawal from public life placed Beatrice and her sister in an unusual position. Two working professionals with royal titles, but an increasingly compromised family reputation to navigate. Reports in 2022 indicated that then Prince Charles intervened to strip Beatrice and Eugenie of certain security arrangements, a decision said to have frustrated their father, illustrating the layers of institutional politics that shape their day-to-day lives even outside of official royal business. Despite this backdrop, Beatrice has generally avoided direct public controversy of her own. She has continued to appear at major royal events. She and her sister kept a vigil around their grandmother's coffin as it lay in state at Westminster Hall in September 2022, and she attended the state funeral shortly after. She has remained a low-key but consistent presence at family occasions, weddings, and select public engagements, generally opting for a more private, less publicly scrutinized version of royal life than some of her cousins. What makes Beatrice's story notable isn't scandal, it's the quieter narrative of someone building a functional, independent adult life while remaining tethered to an institution that offers little in the way of a conventional career path or financial safety net. She has managed dyslexia, a highly publicized parental divorce, unrelenting tabloid attention over her fashion choices and relationships, and a father whose personal conduct became one of the most damaging royal scandals in a generation, all while completing a university degree, building a career across finance, government, and entertainment, sustaining long-term charitable commitments, and starting her own family. Her trajectory suggests something increasingly common among the royal family's younger generation, an attempt to hold two identities at once, public figure and private professional, without letting either one fully define her. Whether that balance holds as the monarchy itself continues to evolve remains an open question, but Beatrice's history so far suggests a preference for steady, low-drama progress over public reinvention through crisis. Beatrice's push toward professional independence accelerated further in 2025. That August, Companies House filings revealed she had become a director and 45% shareholder of a new firm, Purpose Economy Intelligence Ltd., alongside Luis Alvarado Martinez, a Spanish-born World Economic Forum executive, with her long-serving private secretary Olivia Libby Horsley holding the remaining stake. The company's stated purpose spans business and domestic software development, IT services, and management consultancy, an extension of the tech and policy world she had already entered through her role as Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Affinity and her appearances at Davos alongside her sister. The venture came in the same year Beatrice gave birth to her second daughter, Athena Elizabeth Rose, born several weeks premature in January 2025. Beatrice later wrote candidly about the experience in a piece for Vogue, describing the fear of those early weeks and admitting that even months later, she still lacked a precise explanation for why Athena arrived early. She has since become patron of Born, a charity dedicated to researching the causes of premature birth, turning a frightening personal experience into a sustained public health commitment, a pattern consistent with how she has approached charitable work throughout her adult life. Beatrice's standing within the family also carries some formal institutional weight. As one of the first four adults in the line of succession, she holds the position of Counselor of State, meaning she can formally stand in for the monarch on certain state functions if required. That said, questions about the royal family's finances have periodically touched her life as well. A National Audit Office report referenced in mid-2026 noted that Beatrice has not personally paid rent on royal properties she has occupied, a detail that resurfaced broader public debate about how non-working royals are supported. Her father's diminished public role has continued to shape family life in visible ways too. He and Sarah Ferguson made a rare joint public reappearance at the private christening of Beatrice's daughter in December 2025, their first appearance together since Andrew's loss of his royal titles. This new material fits naturally right before the closing, a different kind of royal story section, and the file I shared earlier has already been updated with it, so you're covered either way you want to use it.